Toby Unwin has developed a company that will wake everybody up as to how lawyers may be selected in the future and indeed presently. A very large database, Toby Unwin, President and CEO of Premonition.
Thank you. So Premonition does something very interesting. We know which lawyers win before which judges, which we like to call a very, very unfair advantage in litigation. So can we up the volume? Thank you. We're the world's largest litigation database. We are bigger than LexisNexis, Thomson Reuters, and Bloomberg combined. And in the oh-so-sleepy world of legal technology, we have had a near Kardashian amount of hype. We've been able to get big because 97% of litigation, as you guys know, is at the state and local level. So you're looking at 3,124 different courts that are not connected. So if you do something naughty in Miami, they have no idea about it in Orlando. And our system visits each of these court websites every hour and downloads all the new cases. And we analyze it from a people perspective. And that is very important, because people make up a huge amount of the verdict. It may not be fair, but it is fact. This is Judge Ige down in Miami. These are his auto negligence cases. Here is a long and boring list of attorney performance details, which we see here on a chart. These guys at the top always win. These guys at the bottom always lose. The ones to the right are the busiest. We nearly always see a dot in the bottom right-hand corner. So often the people that are there the most usually lose. But law has traditionally not kept track of outcomes. So statistically, this is the person you're more likely to hire. People say, oh, you should hire Joe. He's in front of Ige all the time. They don't keep track. Well, he's in front of Ige all the time and usually loses. These are the auto negligence cases. Again, we see that the most popular guy has 16 straight losses. You want to hire this man here, Mario Alexander Gomez, who has 9 straight wins. In this court for auto negligence, for Judge Ige, and also he happens to be fast. We find that in studies to show that fast lawyers are often good lawyers. A good case outcome is also highly correlated with a short case duration. In this court, plaintiffs are only getting judgments 5% of the time for this case type, unless they hire this man here, Troy Latane. That's him. 1/4 of all of the judgments for auto negligence for this judge have gone to one man. So you need to know this if you find yourself up against Troy Latane, because you will probably lose. Is justice blind? As we all know, it is not. This is the second busiest lawyer in Miami. He only does plaintiff foreclosure work for banks. Same kind of facts and law over and over and over again, thousands of cases. And you see a judge he has a 67% judgment rate in front of, and one he has a 12%. You shouldn't see this kind of spread in the legal system, but you do, because judges are human just like you and I. We all have our biases. And 30.7% of the average outcome is down to the relationship with the judge and the lawyer. It may not be fair, but it is fact, and that is the average case. We can take this data and we can slice it every which way and find out all kinds of interesting things. So this is the Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie divorce. And even though our system struggles hugely with family law. It's the only type we cannot get winners and losers from, because everybody loses in family court. It is the Wild West of the legal profession. But even with that, we can find interesting things, like they both hired lawyers where a disproportionate amount of their clients don't actually wind up getting divorced. 27% chance that will not happen. And we can do all kinds of interesting analysis on these numbers and dig up all kinds of relationships. Motions are obviously very important. Going back to our friend Judge Eig's court, this is motions for foreclosures. Judge Eig is not a big fan of foreclosure defendants. Pretty much any kind of motion that they file, they lose. Apart from this one, motion to transfer. If you file one of those, there is a 75% chance that you will get it. So you want to know that, file that, and go and fight the battle in another courtroom, which of course you'll pick in advance with a bit of luck. For every precedent, there is an equal and opposite precedent. And when we're in law school, there are certain precedents we like and certain precedents we disagree with. And judges think the same way too. So when you use citation systems, traditionally you have asked the question, is this good law? That is the wrong question to be asking. You need to ask, is this persuasive law for my judge? If I quote this precedent, what will they say? This system, JustX, which is in beta, we have not launched yet, you can upload a pleading or a motion. It goes through it, pulls out the precedents and the statutes and assigns win rates to them. So it can tell you how likely that pleading is to be granted, what precedents and statutes you should take out, and you can go to another page, type in keywords, and it will tell you which precedents and statutes that judge likes to see for your side for that case type and the issues involved. This is how insurers are choosing counsel nowadays. When the claims come in, even if they know very little about them other than the type of claim and where it's filed, a claim that's filed in Delaware is likely to be treated very differently than that same claim in Cook County, Illinois. Then, when they get the letter of representation from plaintiff's counsel, a lawyer that's the billboard guy that rarely goes to court and never goes to trial is going to be treated very differently than the guy who is the judge's brother-in-law. And then, of course, all these numbers change as the case goes on and judges are reassigned, etc., etc. The bottom line is that just picking lawyers by the numbers gets results that are more than 50% better and 50% cheaper than simply choosing a major law firm. 2 weeks ago, I spoke at PCI, which is the conference for insurers. Of the $437 billion a year spent on legal services in America, $220 billion comes from these guys. And after my presentation, they did a poll of the audience to see what they thought. So you see here that just 5% of the audience believe that traditional methods are superior to big data. And then going here to the best way of choosing a lawyer, 96% of these people that spend $220 billion a year on defense counsel are saying that legal analytics are the way to go. We have done this to law, essentially benchmarked it. Thank you very much.